Hey, good evening. It's Friday night, May 7th. We're taking an in-depth look at Proverbs 4 and the admonition to get wisdom. And we've gotten more towards the middle part of the chapter in verses 14 through 17. There's a description here of the pathway of the wicked, if you will, the heartbeat of the wicked. We have to remove from our minds this idea that following God, well, this is a good thing and this is a bad thing. This is an okay act, this is a not okay act. These are things that are matters of the heart. What's the orientation of our heart? We're not going to be perfect, but what's the orientation? What's the direction? What's the flow? And in verses 10 to 13 of chapter 4, we talked about a positive flow, all the good things that wisdom brings about. But yet the counterpart to that, which is in verses 14 to 17, there's another flow, another pathway, another heartbeat, another direction. And David is warning his son Solomon in the strongest possible terms, because David is someone whose heart was oriented in the right direction, but he got sucked into the path of the wicked by his own evil desires. Because we get sloppy. We're not careful to walk in God's ways. In verses 14 and 15, there are 6 admonitions to stay away from evil. 6. Do not set foot on the path of the wicked. That's the first one. Do not set foot. Or walk in the way of evildoers. So don't set foot, walk in the way of evildoers. Walking, going somewhere with your feet is a strong Old Testament metaphor, meaning keep your feet from evil. And then verse 15, there are 4 admonitions. Avoid it, do not travel on it. Avoid it, do not travel on it, that's 3 and 4. Turn from it, that's 5. And go on your way, that's 6. This first word, avoid it, which most translations will do it this way, avoiding it. But it's a strong term. It means to actively rebel against evil. It's getting away from that dark path, but to actively rebel against it. Don't go there. Don't travel on it. Don't turn from it and go on your way. See, again, we're not just talking about stopping individual acts. We're talking about the orientation of the heart. And then verses 16 and 17 lay this out more clearly for us. And this is so important for childbearing. It's so important for you and me. Because we think if we can avoid the single bad act, we'll be okay. No, this is about the orientation of our hearts and the path that we're on. The reason that you want to avoid this path of the wicked is for the people that are wicked, for they cannot rest until they do evil. These people on this path, they have to have it. They are robbed of sleep until they make someone stumble. Do you see the picture here? They're being drawn into this. Folks are never satisfied. Evil is never satisfied. Lust is never satisfied. Ephesians 4 tells us that we stumble when we lose sensitivity. Sensitivity means that I care about you. And I embrace sensuality. Sensuality means I care about me. And this produces a lust which was never satisfied. It only has a deep continual lust for more. Well, that's what's being described here. And then verse 17, they eat the bread, the wicked, eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. Bread and wine were common staples of the Old Testament genre of time that was being lived out here. In other words, we talk about bread and butter. We're talking about the basics of life, even though both of those things are kind of out these days, but nevertheless, embracing a thing so it's a mindset. It's what you eat, it's what you drink, it's what you sleep, it's what you go after. Wickedness is never satisfied. When you're on the path of the wicked, you are drawn into it, and it's subtle, powerful, and will have you caught just like that. which is why the first two verses, 14 and 15, are so strong. Stay away from it. Not in the sense of getting your wrist slapped or do's and don'ts, but in the sense of the danger that's there. That once you go down this way, you embrace this heartbeat of wickedness as opposed to the heartbeat of goodness. It's going to draw us right in. Wickedness is more and more subtle and more powerful. Woman of the U.S. Congress today, a congressperson, actually said on the floor of the House of Representatives, we need to protect the rights of birthing people. We can't even talk about mothers anymore. That's how subtle this is. We have got to be on this path of seeing the value of righteousness, the value of wisdom, and by its rewards of being drawn into that, instead of this path of the wicked, which involves this where people cannot stop. They can't rest. They can't do anything until they make someone fall into this way, which is why we're encouraged to stay away from it, this diet, this heartbeat of wickedness. Do you see the contrast? Verses 18 and 19 we'll talk about in the morning, and that sums this up very beautifully. But that's what I want to leave you with tonight. Avoid the heartbeat of wickedness and embrace the heartbeat of wisdom. And that's the thought for this night. Thanks so much for being here. Lord willing, we'll see you in the morning. Good night.